Hi guys, Mr. Hill here with your maths lesson for today. We started off this set of lessons multiplying a 2-digit number by a 1-digit number. We've worked through and we're now going to today look at multiplying a 4-digit number by a 2-digit number. So let's have a look at a calculation that we got to work out. Have a think. What's the same? What's different? Have a go at writing it out so we're ready to solve it. I'm not asking you to solve it just yet, just write it out. Okay, let's have a look. What's the same? Well, we're multiplying. We've been doing plenty of practice on that. We know what we're doing there. We need to find a product. Again, we've been doing plenty of that the last few lessons. We're multiplying by a 2-digit number. We know how to do that because we've practiced that quite a bit recently. What we haven't done is work with a 4-digit number being multiplied by a 2-digit number. So we've got one extra digit to work with. So how do we lay it out? Exactly the same way as we did for our 2-digit times multiplied by 2-digit numbers, 3-digit multiplied by 2-digit. All we're doing is putting the bigger number on top, smaller number underneath, and making sure that we pay attention to our place values. Certainly more important as the numbers are getting bigger that we keep to those place values. So if you've got squared paper, brilliant. If not, you might want to just make sure that you've maybe put a ruler next to it as you write your numbers. So you make sure your ones are with your ones, your tens are with your tens as you go through. So solving this is exactly the same process as solving for a 2-digit multiplied by, or sorry, a 3-digit multiplied by a 2-digit. Start off 2,313 times 2. So we'll do that step first. 3 times 2 for 6, 2 times 1 for 2, 3 times 2 for 6, 2 times 2 for 4. Nice and easy. Second step is 2,313 multiplied by 30. Need to remember we put a 0 in the ones column. We're not working with ones anymore. We're working with tens to begin with. So we've got 30 times 3 or 3 times 3 for 9, remembering the 0 in the ones column. 9 goes in there. 3 times 1 for 3, 3 times 3 for 9 again, and 3 times 2 for 6. There we go. We've done the difficult bit. We've completed our multiplication. We only now need to add the two products together to get our final answer. I've got 6. 9 had 2 for 11, so we need to exchange there. 6 had 3 for 9. Add the one we've exchanged. We need another exchange there as well. 0 in that column. 9 and 4 for 13. So we've got another exchange. 4 in there. 6 and 1 for 7. 74,060. That's our answer for this question. Now, is there another way we could use? Is there another trick we've taught you, another method for working these out? Think about what we did 3 lessons ago. We used the area model. So we can do the same again here. So I'm going to partition the 4-digit number across the top. 2,310 and 3. Down the left-hand side there, I've got 30 and 2. Solving it, 30 times 2,000 for 60,000. 30 times 3 for 9,000. 30 times 10 for 300. 30 times 3 for 90. And then we're going to multiply again by 2. So 2,000 times 2 is 4,000. 300 times 2 is 600. 2 times 10 is 20. And 2 times 3 is 6. All we need to do now is add all of these together, which will give us our answer of 74,016. So you can use this method if you want to go back and check that you've got your calculation correct. You can split it down into lots of different calculations and add them all back together just to make completely certain that you've got your answer right if you think there might be a problem. So here we've got a new question. 6,324 times 33. We're going to lay it out. So have a think here. Are we going to have any exchanges? And what do I need to remember to do if there are? Let's have a look. We've got 3 times 4 there. There will be an exchange to do there. So let's work through this one. I'm going to teach you a little trick that will help you. So if you're doing exchanges, a way to make sure that that number doesn't get confused in with all the other numbers we're working with, and you end up by adding it in at the end by mistake. Our 2 calculations, 6,324 multiplied by 3 and 6,324 multiplied by 30. So those are the 2 calculations we've got to complete. So as I said, 3 times 4 is going to give us 12. So we need to complete an exchange there. So going to complete that calculation. The 1 or the 10 is going to go to the next place value column. The 2 is going to go in the 1s column. I'm going to move on and complete my next calculation of 3 times 2. That makes 6, and I add the 1 for 7. Now, I could leave it like this and try and remember that I don't need to use that number. It's very easy, once you've done all the rest of the calculations, to forget that that number doesn't actually play a part in the addition calculation. It's from the subtraction, from the multiplication, sorry. So what we're going to do, we're going to put a nice neat line through it. I've finished with that number. I can ignore it when I come to add my 2 products together. I can now go on and solve the rest of this calculation. 3 times 3 for 9, 3 times 6 for 18. So I've got another exchange to complete there. 8 goes in the thousands column, and I've exchanged up to the tens of thousands column. I've got nothing in my tens of thousands column. So 3 times nothing is nothing. 3 times 0 is 0. Anything multiplied by 0, as you all know, makes 0. And then all I've got to do is 0 add 1 for 1. And of course, most importantly, remember to cross out that digit. Then it doesn't get confused. So moving on, the next row, 6,324 multiplied by 30. The all-important 0 in the 1s column. And then we complete the calculation exactly the same way as we did for the 1s. 3 times 4 makes 12, so I've got the 1 to exchange. The 2 is going to go in the 10s column. 3 times 2 for 6. Add the 1 that I've exchanged for 7. Make sure I cross it out. 3 times 3 for 9. 3 times 6 is 18, so I've got 1 to exchange up. 8 goes in the tens of thousands column. There's nothing in my hundreds of thousands column, so I can't multiply 3 by anything, which gives me nothing. So as we know, 3 times 0 is 0. Add the 1, there we go. And again, making sure I've crossed it out. So now I've got my calculations complete. You can see why it's so important I cross that 1 out, or the 2, or whichever number it might be, from my exchanges. I could quite easily in my tens column add 7 and 1 and 2 together and get 10. But the total for that column is actually 9. Let's finish off our calculation. 2 add nothing for 2, 7 add 2 for 9, 9 add 7 for 16, remembering to exchange, 9 add 8 for 17, add the 1 makes 18, and remembering the exchange, 8 add 1 for 10, again remembering the exchange, and 1 add 1 for 2. There we go. Happy with how we do exchanges? If you feel like you need a little bit more support with this, just rewind the video a couple of minutes, rewatch this bit, and then come and join us once you've done that. Okay. Our answer of 208,692 there. Can you solve this one? So using what we've just gone through, remembering to exchange, remembering to cross out what we've exchanged when we're looking at the products for our multiplication, have a go. Pause the video here. Okay, how did you get on with that? Again, if you feel like you struggled a little bit, please rewind the video 2 minutes, rewatch the last piece of working out I did, and have another go at this one. Going to walk you through this one as well, just so we've got it really firm in our heads before we go and do our own independent work. Calculations I'm working out, 4,145 times 2, 4,145 times 50. I'm not going to go through this step by step this time. I'm going to put the answers up, show you the answers that you should have got, the fact that I've crossed out all my exchanges as I've gone through, and then I'm going to total it up. So my answer for this question is 215,540. Okay, now it's your turn. Have a go at these questions. Pause the video here. Okay, how have you got on with those? Hopefully you found them fairly simple. If not, go back, rewatch the video again. Keep practicing that skill. Do it along with it as I talk you through it so you can see how it all goes together. Go through the answers. I'll put those up. You can pause the video and check them. Pause the video here. Okay, ready to move on? Let's go. Have a think here. I may have made a few mistakes when I wrote this one out. I wonder if you can help me. I think I've made 3 mistakes. Can you spot them? Pause the video here to have a look through and then press play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, how many of them did you find? First one we need to look at. I'm going to go and look at my ones calculation. 5,402 times 4. There's a 0 in there, but there's not a 0 in my product. Something's gone wrong somewhere. So I'm going to go back and check. 4 times 2 for 8. 4 times 0 makes, there we go. That's where I've made my mistake. Best that fixed that, hadn't I? So I'm going to change that. Should be a 0. There we go. That's the first mistake I've made. Second mistake. Did you spot it? I haven't put the 0 for my tens calculation. So it's all wrong. It's all in the wrong place value. So I need to move it all one place value to the left. So I'm going to do that. And to show that there's nothing in here, I'm going to put a 0 there. So that's my second mistake. My third mistake is very similar to my first mistake. I've got 2 times 2 to make 4. 2 times 0 makes, doesn't make 2. As we all know, when we multiply by 0, it makes 0. So I need to take that off. And now I can complete my calculation. So I've resolved that. Let's change that for a 0. There we go. Now I need to go back and look at my answer, rework that out, and there you go, 129,648. Some more questions for you to have a go at here. Pause the video, complete your work. For question 3, make sure you write out the calculations. Don't try and do them in your head. The numbers are getting bigger. It's getting harder to hold all of that in your head. So write it down, use the written method we've been doing. Pause the video here to complete your work. Okay, how did we get on with all of those? Again, if you feel like you've struggled a bit, go back and rewatch the video. The process is the same for every single question. All that's changing is the number. So if you're not certain of the process, that's what you need to practice. If you feel like the answers are coming out wrong, go and check the method that we're using, that you understand it, that you know when you're exchanging, that you're remembering to cross those numbers out and you're making it as easy as you can for yourselves. Let's move on and look at the answers. Question 3's answers there. Question 4, finding the product means multiplying the numbers together. If you think right the way back to when we first started back after Christmas, we had a little bit of vocabulary at the beginning of that video. Product, what you get when you multiply 2 numbers together. Moving on to question 5. We're asked to work out how much it's cost to buy the shirts, how much profit has been made, and whether there's another way of working out how much profit was made. So, question A, It was 2,700 shirts, and they've paid £39 for each one. 2,700 multiplied by 39 to give a cost of £105,300. Part B, we were asked to work out the profit. So that's how much money they've made compared to how much money they've spent, and finding the difference. So we know they sold the shirts for £49. So we need to know how much money they made selling those shirts. That's 49 times 2,700, which gives us an answer of £132,300. We already knew that 39 times 2,700 was 105,300. So we need to subtract that from 132,300, which gives us a profit of £27,000. I've got my own place value there for a minute. Looking at the final part, was there an easier way of working it out? Well, actually, there is. We look at the price that was paid and the price that they sold the shirts for. The difference there was £10. So we could have multiplied 2,700 by 10. Making that 10 times bigger, everything moves up one place value, and we end up with the same answer of £27,000. Well done today, guys. You've worked really well. I'll see you again tomorrow. Stay safe and take care.